Hello everyone, it's Tabasa back with another entry. This is the last one that I'm making for the night before, I don't know, maybe I'm on my trip and posting stuff about my trip, which will be very nice if I am able to do that. With that out of the way, this entry is from the 16th of May, 2025, and this one is a bit frightening for me personally. So let's get into it. Today, I was messing around with my eyes by seeing how far back I can go until I cannot read something. What I discovered was that my right eye cannot see as far as my left. This has me worried, as for my entire life I had been able to be fortunate and have 20/20 vision, so having this happen to me was shocking. I'm worried if this is really happening or if my eye is just strained from the copious amount of screen time that I play video games and just on my phone in general. It's a chronic disease, honestly, at this point. If this is permanent, then I may have to get glasses. I've once had reading glasses as a kid, but I never actually needed them. Currently, I wear blue light glasses when I game, but besides that and sunglasses, I don't need anything to see better. It feels odd to realize that this gift of good vision is possibly fading from me. Maybe this is my sign that I am not bulletproof anymore. Maybe I should think even more before I act, says the overthinker. If I were to get glasses, I'd always thought about getting the ones with circular frames, and I think that they would go well on me. That or some rounded trapezoid ones. I shouldn't really be worrying about this, though, because I have no need for glasses right now until I get a checkup. And right now, at the time that I'm writing this, I should go to bed. So, good night. So, yeah, very concerning things because this is my health. I don't know what it is, and I keep testing it out. Ever since that incident, I've kept testing it out where I'm looking at something and I just go, and then, and I try and compare, like, can I see this clearly? Can I see what that says? Because it bothers me. It literally bothers me that one eye feels like it can't focus as much as the other one. Now, what I will say is this: my left eye is the dominant eye because I used to be left-handed. I'm left-footed still. I switched hands. There's a whole there's lore regarding why I swapped hands. I got bullied, I guess, is the main point. But there's something a little bit more to that, which I might get into if someone wants to hear that story, because it's pretty comedic. It's very short. It's nice. But although my left eye is dominant, I feel like both eyes should be equally able to see something. Now, what I will say is this: I can pretty well still pick out, if I stare like long enough, what the word says or what the letter says, depending on the font and how thick it is. If it's a thinner font and the letters are a little bit more spaced out, more distinct, it's a little bit easier to see them. I feel like that's just basics of seeing in general. But if it's more closely packed together, I feel like it's a little bit more of just literally a blur. And I don't know if you guys get this, but sometimes I'll be looking at something with one of my eyes, and even though I'm focusing at that point, that one point that I'm looking at is just blurry. Now, no, when the solar eclipse happened, I didn't look at the solar eclipse without glasses on. I, of course, put my glasses on because I want to protect my eyes. However, what I will say is there was one time I was on a job site and I accidentally glanced at a weld spark for a second. Now, for those of you who don't know, when people are welding, they put those metal things over their face with a visor. The reason is because the light is so bright it can damage your eyes. And so when I walked on to this job site for a tour, I accidentally glanced over, saw the arc spark, and went, "Oh shit!" Moved my vision obviously straight forward and was like, trying to blink it out. But maybe that's what caused the damage in my right eye, since if I'm looking this way, my right eye is going to be a lot better than seeing, across my nose. from my left eye, but who knows? Another thing that it could possibly be is it's really hard to see. At least I feel like. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but there seems to be like a little gap right here between my eyeball and I guess, the skin of my eye. Whereas on this eye, it doesn't have it as dramatic as this one. So I don't know if my right eye is maybe shaped a little bit differently, or maybe from what I'm, from discussing this with one of my professors, he said it might be, make sure it's not a pressure thing in your eye, because those can get bad pretty quickly. And I've seen my eye be like this before, with this like slight larger gap on this one than this one. So I don't think it's a pressure thing. But then again, maybe this is all in my head and this has just been my vision the entire time. I've never noticed it. I do always feel like every once in a while I just get those things where I'm like, I feel like I should be looking at something, but I have no clue what it is. And my mind just spaces out. And I don't know if it's this right eye is just, it's not able to focus on whatever my left eye is looking at. And so my brain just like registers nothing. But it does have me concerned if I'm going to postpone going on my trip for like a day, because the eye cares and those centers, they only work on weekdays. I'd have to go in on Monday. But I am very curious if there is actually a vision thing. Now, genetically, there might be a vision thing. My grandmother wears glasses. My grandfather, I believe, wore glasses. I don't think the grandparents on my dad's side. No, my grandma on my dad's side does. And both of my parents wear glasses at one point before they got laser surgery or whatever. So there is a probably high possibility that later on my eyesight is not going to be as great as it used to be. So this may be the turning point in my genetic pool, which, I mean, at that point, like, I can't. It's not something preventable, which would be unfortunate, but it's just something I have to accept. Now, what would be a little bit harder for me to accept is if this is actually caused from the amount of screen time that I've been putting up lately. Because what I will say is I need to figure out a way to not be so much on my phone all the time. I kid you not. When I wake up, the first thing I do is check my phone, and my phone is right next to where I sleep. And so I literally just like click it on and like scroll for a little bit, or click on a video to just get me out of that snooze fest. And so I'll do that. I'll put it in my pocket and maybe I'll have the video playing while I get ready and everything. But then again, when I eat, I'm looking at a video trying to, just kind of pass time. Then when I'm going to class, I'll be listening to music, which I guess is an audio thing, not a sight thing. But I go to class, I'm looking at a screen on my computer, or if it's in between classes, I'm checking my phone for notifications of texts of homework assignments or friends or whatever. And then I go from school back home, where I go and make dinner and I look at my phone when I eat. And then after that, I shower, but then I get on the Xbox and play Xbox. And in between my games of Apex, I'm looking at my phone again. And then I get ready for bed, where I'm looking at a video while I brush my teeth. And then I go to bed, I plug my phone in, listen to ASMR, always slightly sleepy. My YouTube crush. She's amazing. But at the same time, I'm looking at a phone before I'm going to bed. And so you can kind of see where my right eye being strained might be a bit of a problem that I caused on myself. And accepting that would be kind of annoying for me. Obviously, I'm going to have to accept it. Can't be a bitch about it. But I would have to understand that, oh my gosh, I'm spending way too much time on my screen. How can I at least mediate the damage so my eyesight doesn't get worse? And secondly, if I have a kid, dear God, I need to regulate his stuff so his eyesight doesn't become like mine. Because I wouldn't want my kid to not have 20/20 vision, because having 20/20 vision is pretty cool. Another reason why it might be my right eye and not both of my eyes is for a little bit of some funny things, I guess. One summer, I was practicing how to raise my eyebrow like this, doing the rock impression. And so I'm obviously lifting with my left eyebrow. Now, what I thought was interesting that I feel like came out of this event of me practicing to raise my eyebrow is if I'm feeling tired, my left eyelid will sag a little bit more than my right one. And I will look more tired in my left eye than my right eye. You might even be able to see it now, where this eyelid looks a little bit more lower than this one. And so what I can do sometimes is I close my left eye. Like if it's a bright day out, I'll close my left eyelid and let my right eye see like this. The issue with that is then anytime that it's bright out, my right eye is the one eye that's getting exposed to this bright light and not my left eye. So my left eye, it's like I'm protecting my left eye, but I'm not protecting my right eye. Now, obviously I wear sunglasses when it's sunny out, but it's not every day that I have sunglasses on me. And when I do, it's not every angle that is protected from the sun, because the sun is a deadly laser. If you know that reference, you get it. But with that being said, I'm a little bit nervous to see what this checkup's going to see. If I do end up getting glasses, I will wear them over contacts until maybe I get bored of wearing glasses and switch to contacts. But besides that, let's hope for the best and just maybe my eyesight is just good enough to be 20/20 vision and I'm not losing it just yet. Maybe this is a sign that I should stop, let my eye rest a little bit. But who knows until I get those results or until you see me in a video with glasses on. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. Please make sure to like and subscribe. I just talk about my life here on this channel. That's really about it. Peace.